When a man making $2 million a year sticks his foot out to trip a waitress carrying 6 plates just to impress his colleagues with a cruel joke, he expects laughter. He expects her to clean up the mess quietly and disappear. He expects the night to continue exactly as planned, with expensive whiskey and stories about conquering markets. What he doesn't expect is for the group of leather-clad men at the next table to slowly stand up, one by one, and explain very clearly what happens when you hurt someone under Iron Rider's protection. And he definitely doesn't expect his face to be all over the internet by the time his entree arrives, with his employer's CEO calling to ask why their company is trending for all the wrong reasons. This isn't about violence. This is about the moment a predator realizes he picked the wrong prey in the wrong place at the wrong time. If you believe that people who hurt others for entertainment deserve to face consequences, drop a comment right now telling us where you're watching from and hit that subscribe button, because this story proves that sometimes the universe puts exactly the right people in exactly the right place at exactly the right moment. Hannigan's Pub sat on the edge of Fort Worth's Stockyards District, where authentic Texas history collided with tourist dollars and local pride. The building dated back to 1897, original brick and timber, with a long mahogany bar that had served everyone from cattle ranchers to oil barons to modern-day cowboys who worked in air-conditioned offices but still wore boots on the weekends. The menu offered steaks, burgers, and the kind of honest food that didn't need to pretend it was anything other than what it was. Good, filling, and reasonably priced. Thursday nights brought a mixed crowd. Locals who'd been coming for decades sat alongside tourists looking for authentic Texas experience. Business people from the nearby hotels, and the occasional bachelor party looking for country music and beer. The atmosphere was relaxed, friendly, the kind of place where strangers became friends by the third round, and everyone knew the waitstaff by name. Tonight, 6 men in expensive suits occupied the large table near the back windows. They'd arrived at 7:30 p.m., loud from the start, loosening ties, ordering top-shelf whiskey, talking too loudly about deals and acquisitions and bonuses that could buy houses. Investment bankers from Morrison Sterling Group, in town for a conference, staying at the Worthington Hotel down the street, slumming it at Hannigan's because their usual high-end restaurants were fully booked. The leader was Brent Kavanaugh, 38 years old, managing director at Morrison Sterling, personally responsible for closing $400 million in deals last year. He drove a Tesla Model S Plaid, owned a penthouse in Manhattan, and treated the world like his personal playground. His colleagues worshipped him, imitated him, laughed at his jokes, even when they weren't funny, because laughing was how you survived in their world. At the table directly beside them, 5 men sat quietly nursing beers and waiting for their food. They wore leather vests marked with the Iron Rider's MC patches, jeans worn soft from miles of riding, boots that had seen 1,000 roads. To the casual observer, they looked like typical bikers, rough around the edges, covered in tattoos, the kind of men that made nervous parents grab their children's hand a little tighter. But Cole Thompson wasn't typical. At 51, he'd spent 24 years in the Marine Corps, including 3 tours in Iraq, before retiring and finding brotherhood in the Iron Riders. The man beside him, Diesel, had been a firefighter for 20 years before a back injury forced early retirement. Wrench owned an auto repair shop that employed ex-cons and gave people second chances. Hammer volunteered at a homeless shelter every Sunday. Bear coached Little League Baseball. They were good men who'd made a choice to wear patches, ride together, and look out for each other and anyone who needed protecting. They noticed everything. Years of training, life experience, and hard lessons had taught them to read rooms, assess threats, spot trouble before it started. And they've been watching the investment bankers since they arrived. The waitress serving both tables was named Christina Martinez, 23 years old, full-time student at TCU studying elementary education, working nights and weekends at Hannigan's to pay tuition because her parents couldn't help and she refused to drown in student loans. She'd been working at the pub for 2 years, knew the regulars, earned good tips through genuine friendliness and hard work. Christina was the kind of girl who remembered your order, asked about your kids, laughed at your bad jokes, and made everyone feel welcome. The Iron Riders had been coming to Hannigan's on Thursday nights for 6 months. They always requested Christina's section, always tipped 30%, and treated her with a kind of old-fashioned respect that seemed increasingly rare. "How's your exam go?" Cole asked when Christina brought their second round. Her face lit up. "Got an A. That study guide you suggested really helped. Told you. My daughter used the same one in college. Works every time. Thank you so much. Your food should be out in about 10 minutes." She moved to the investment banker's table. They'd already gone through 2 bottles of whiskey, were getting louder, more obnoxious. Brent Kavanaugh snapped his fingers at her. Actually snapped his fingers like she was a dog. "Another round. And make it faster this time." Christina's smile tightened, but held. "Of course. I'll put that in right now." "You do that, sweetheart." Brent's eyes traveled over her body slowly. Obviously, the way men do when they want you to know they're looking. "What time do you get off tonight?" "We're staying at the Worthington. Room 2047. Come by after your shift. We'll make it worth your while." His colleagues laughed. Christina's cheeks flushed red. "I appreciate the offer, but I'm not interested. I'll get your drinks." She walked away quickly, professionally. At the Iron Rider's table, Cole's jaw tightened. He'd heard every word. "So how does Brothers?" "Easy," Diesel murmured. "She handled it." "For now," Cole replied quietly. Christina put in the drink order, checked on her other tables, brought the Iron Riders their food. Burgers, steaks, loaded fries. The kind of meal that made a Thursday night feel right. "Everything okay?" Wrench asked her quietly. "Yeah, just some guys being guys." She forced a smile. "Nothing I can't handle." But Cole noticed her hand was shaking slightly when she set down his plate. 20 minutes later, the kitchen sent up the investment banker's food. 6 ribeye steaks, 3 orders of loaded baked potatoes, sides of asparagus and cream spinach. Christina loaded everything onto a large tray, balanced it expertly, the way she'd done thousands of times before. The tray was heavy, at least 40 pounds, requiring both hands and careful balance. She walked from the kitchen toward their table, concentrating on keeping everything level. The restaurant was busy now, full of people and conversation and a live country band setting up in the corner. Christina navigated carefully between tables, chair backs, moving with practiced efficiency. She was 3 steps from the investment banker's table when Brent Kavanaugh stuck his foot out into the aisle. It happened fast. Christina's shin hit his ankle. The tray tilted. She tried to catch it, overcorrected, and everything crashed to the floor. 6 plates shattered. Food exploded across the hardwood. Hot steak juice and butter splashed on her legs, her uniform, her shoes. The sound cut through the restaurant like a gunshot. The entire room went silent. The band stopped tuning. Every conversation died. Christina stood frozen, surrounded by broken dishes and destroyed food, her face burning with humiliation. Hot tears welled in her eyes. And Brent Kavanaugh laughed. Not embarrassed, not apologetic. Loud, cruel laughter that made sure everyone knew he'd done it on purpose. "Oops," he said, grinning at his colleagues. "Guess someone should watch where they're walking." His friends howled with laughter, slapping the table, acting like it was the funniest thing they'd ever seen. Christina bent down, started picking up broken plates with shaking hands. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I'll get this cleaned up. I'll get you new plates. I'm so sorry." She was apologizing for something he did, for his cruelty, for his entertainment. Cole watched her kneel in the wreckage, tears running down her face, and something inside him went cold. The same cold that came over him in combat when the mission required absolute focus and controlled fury. He stood up slowly. The sound of his chair scraping back cut through the laughter. One by one, his brothers stood with him. Diesel, Wrench, Hammer Bear. 5 Iron Riders, standing in unison, their combined presence making the air itself feel heavier. The laughter died in Brent Kavanaugh's throat. Cole walked over to Christina, bent down beside her. His voice was gentle. "Leave it, darling. This wasn't your fault." "But wasn't your fault," he repeated firmly but kindly. He helped her stand, picked up the tray, handed it to her. "Go get the manager. Tell him what happened. We'll handle this." Christina looked at his face and saw something that made her nod and step back. She'd seen Cole joke with her, seen him laugh, seen him gentle with servers and kind to strangers. But right now, his eyes held something different, something that said boundaries had been crossed and consequences were coming. Cole turned to face Brent Kavanaugh. Diesel moved to stand beside him, then wrench, then hammer, then bear. 5 iron riders forming a wall between Christina and the man who'd hurt her. "You tripped her," Cole said. Not a question, a statement. Brent recovered his arrogance quickly. Alcohol and ego making him stupid. "Prove it. Maybe she's just clumsy." "We all saw you," Diesel said quietly. "Everyone in this section saw you." Brent looked around. Several other diners nodded. One man at a nearby table raised his phone. "Got the whole thing on video. You stuck your foot out. She went down, you laughed." The color drained from Brent's face, but his mouth kept running. "It was a joke. She's fine. Does she look fine to you?" Cole's voice was dead calm, the kind of calm that was more terrifying than shouting. "Does a woman crying, covered in food, cleaning up your mess because you thought it would be funny to humiliate her look fine?" "Look, I don't know who you think you are, but we're customers here. We don't have to." "You don't have to do anything," Cole agreed. "But you will. You're going to apologize to her. You're going to pay for every bit of food that hit the floor. And you're going to leave." Brent laughed, but it sounded forced now, brittle. "Or what? You'll hit me? Go ahead. My lawyer would own you by morning." "Nobody's hitting anybody," Cole said. "We don't need to." Wrench pulled out his phone, tapped a few buttons. "Just posted the video to our club's social media. We have about 50,000 followers across Texas. Most of them really don't like seeing women get hurt." Hammer pulled out his phone. "Share it to my pages." "That's another 30,000 people." Diesel held up his phone. "My wife just shared it to her Facebook groups. She runs networks for veteran families, service industry workers, and women's advocacy groups. That's about 200,000 people right there." Within 60 seconds, all 5 Iron Riders had shared the video through their networks. The investment bankers watched in horror as their phones started buzzing. Not just Brent's. All of them. One of his colleagues, younger, less confident, checked his phone and went pale. "Brent, we're tagged. Someone identified us. They know we work for Morrison Sterling." Another checked his phone. "It's on Twitter. Someone found our LinkedIn profiles." Brent grabbed his phone. The video had 5,000 views already. Comments were flooding in. "This is Brent Kavanaugh from Morrison Sterling Group. I found his work email, Kavanaugh@morrisonsterling.com. His company CEO is Janet Morrison. Her email is on their website. Let her know what her employees do for fun. I'm contacting every client Morrison Sterling has. This is who manages your money. Someone please tell me their HR department has seen this." Brent's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered without thinking. "What, Mr. Kavanaugh? This is Mike Shun from Fort Worth Star-Telegram. We're seeing video of you tripping a waitress. Can you comment?" He hung up. The phone rang again immediately. Different number. "Mr. Kavanaugh, this is Channel 8 News. We'd like to get your statement about." He hung up again. Text messages flooded in. His wife, his boss, his mother, all asking the same thing. "What the hell did you do?" The manager of Hannigan's appeared, a stocky man in his 50s named Tom, who'd been running the place for 20 years. He looked at the mess on the floor, at Christina standing behind the Iron Riders with tears on her face, at the investment bankers who'd gone from loud and confident to pale and silent. "Someone want to tell me what happened?" Cole handed Tom his phone, showing the video. Tom watched it once, his face hardening with each second. He handed the phone back. "You're done," Tom said to Brent. "You and your friends. Get out of my pub. We haven't paid yet." One of the bankers said weakly, "You're right. You owe $347 for your food and drinks, plus $200 for the food that hit the floor, plus $100 for Christina's uniform that you ruined, plus $500 for wasting my time and upsetting my staff and customers. That's $1,147. Cash or card, doesn't matter, but you're paying before you leave." Brent's arrogance made one last appearance. "You can't make me pay for her." Tom pointed to a sign above the bar. "Management reserves the right to refuse service and add charges for destruction of property and harassment of staff." He pulled out his phone. "Or I call the police and we file assault charges. Deliberately tripping someone is assault. I've got video, I've got witnesses, and I've got a waitress with burns on her leg from hot food. Your choice." Brent pulled out his credit card with shaking hands. Tom ran it for $1,147. The transaction went through. Now leave, Tom said. And don't come back. Ever. The investment bankers stood up, gathering their jackets, trying to maintain some dignity. As they walked toward the exit, the Iron Riders simply stood there, not blocking them, not threatening them, just standing as witnesses, making sure they felt the weight of what they'd done. At the door, Brent turned back, trying to salvage something. This is ridiculous. It was just a joke. Cole walked over slowly, stopped 2 feet away. He didn't raise his voice, didn't posture, just spoke clearly enough for everyone nearby to hear. You see those patches on our vests? You know what they mean? They mean we're brothers, and we protect our own. He gestured to Christina. She's ours. She serves us every week with kindness and respect. She remembers our orders, asks about our families, treats us like human beings. So when someone hurts her, they hurt all of us. Diesel stepped forward. You thought tripping her would be funny. Thought you'd impress your friends by humiliating someone you see as beneath you. But you forgot something important. What's that? Brent asked, his voice barely a whisper. You forgot that everyone is someone's daughter, Hammer said. Someone's sister. Someone worth protecting. Bear, who hadn't spoken yet, had the deepest voice. You forgot that there are still men in this world who believe that how you treat people who can't fight back says everything about who you really are. Wrench pulled out his phone one more time. Videos at 50,000 views now. Your company's trending on Twitter. Someone started a petition to have Morrison Sterling drop you as an employee. It's got 10,000 signatures in 20 minutes. Brent looked at his phone and actually whimpered. His boss was calling. Not his direct boss, the CEO of the entire company. Janet Morrison herself. He answered with a shaking voice. Ms. Morrison, I can explain. Her voice was loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. You can explain nothing. You're suspended immediately pending investigation. Do not come to the office. Do not contact clients. Do not represent this company in any capacity. Our legal team will be in touch. She hung up. One of his colleagues, trying to distance himself, spoke up. For the record, we told him not to do it. We didn't think it was funny. Cole looked at him with contempt. But you laughed anyway. That makes you complicit. The investment bankers walked out in silence. The moment the door closed behind them, the entire restaurant erupted in applause. People stood up, cheering for Christina, cheering for the Iron Riders, celebrating the moment justice got served with their Thursday night dinner. Christina was crying again, but different now. Relief and gratitude and overwhelming emotion. Tom wrapped an arm around her shoulders. You okay, kiddo? Yeah, she managed. Yeah, I'm okay. Cole walked over, pulled out his wallet, and handed her $500 bills. For you. From all of us. For putting up with jerks like that and still showing up with a smile every week. I can't take this. Yes, you can, Diesel said. The other riders each added $100 bills until Christina was holding $2,500 in cash. More money than she'd make in a month of tips. Why? She asked through tears. Why would you do this? Wrench smiled gently. Because you matter. Because what happened to you is wrong. And because we're in a position to make sure you know that good people still exist. Tom brought out their meals, fresh and hot, on the house. The Iron Rider sat back down and ate while Christina took a break in the back, cleaned herself up, and tried to process what had just happened. The video continued spreading. By midnight, it had 2 million views. Morrison Sterling Group released a statement. We do not condone the behavior displayed in the video. The employee in question has been terminated effective immediately. Brent Kavanaugh's LinkedIn showed seeking new opportunities. His wife filed for separation 2 days later. His professional network evaporated. The man who'd made $2 million the previous year found himself unhireable, his reputation destroyed by 20 seconds of cruelty caught on camera. But that's not the end of the story. 3 weeks later, Christina showed up for her Thursday night shift to find the Iron Riders waiting at their usual table. But this time they had a guest, a woman in her 50s, professional, kind eyes. Christina, this is my wife, Patricia, Cole said. She's the principal at Henderson Elementary. She wanted to meet you. Patricia stood, shook Christina's hand warmly. Cole told me you're studying to be a teacher. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. Elementary education. I graduate next year. When you do, I want you to apply to Henderson. We need teachers like you. People who understand kindness, who stand back up after being knocked down, who keep showing up even when the world is cruel. She handed Christina a business card. Call me 6 months before graduation. I'll make sure you get an interview. Christina's eyes filled with tears. Again, but good tears this time. The kind that come when you realize that sometimes awful moments lead to opportunities you never expected. Over the following months, the Iron Riders made Christina their unofficial little sister. They looked out for her, made sure no one else ever tried anything, spread the word through their networks that she was protected. Other bikers from different clubs started coming to Hannigan's specifically to leave her generous tips, to show support, to prove that good men still existed. She finished school with honors, got the job at Henderson Elementary. On her first day of teaching, she found 5 Harley-Davidsons parked in the teacher's lot with a banner. Good luck, Ms. Martinez. You're going to change lives. Iron Riders MC. And Brent Kavanaugh? He moved to another city, took a job that paid a fraction of what he'd made before, and learned that reputation is built over years but destroyed in seconds. Some say he's a better person now, humbled by consequences. Others say he just learned to hide his cruelty better. But Christina didn't think about him anymore. She thought about her classroom full of kids, about the Iron Riders who still came to Hannigan's every Thursday and always requested her section, even though she didn't work there anymore, just visited. She thought about how one terrible moment had somehow led to a community of protection, of brotherhood, of people who decided that she mattered. And every time someone asked her about the scar on her leg from where the hot food burned her that night, she'd smile and say, "That's the scar that taught me good men still exist." And sometimes they wear leather and ride Harleys and show up exactly when you need them most. Because that's what the Iron Riders did. They showed up, not for glory, not for recognition, but because protecting people who couldn't protect themselves was simply who they were. And Christina spent the rest of her career teaching that lesson to her students. Stand up for people who can't stand up for themselves. Speak when others stay silent. Be the person who makes the world a little bit better, even when it costs you something. Because that's what heroes do. And sometimes, heroes wear leather vests and drink beer at a pub on Thursday nights, waiting quietly for the moment when someone needs them to stand up and say, "Not on our watch."